Empire officers recorded impossible footage while predator cubs hugging a human goodbye. The surveillance footage had been flagged 17 times by the automated systems aboard the Imperial Dreadnought Sovereign's Will. Each time, the AI had marked it with the same designation: biological impossibility, review required. Captain Jakara of the Vaxian Empire stood in the observation deck, her chitinous plates shifting uncomfortably as she watched the holographic display for the 18th time. Beside her, Commander Ralthine's tentacles coiled and uncoiled with visible agitation. "This cannot be authentic," Ralthine hissed, his translator struggling with his species' particular frequency of distress. The human must have used some form of pheromone manipulation or neural override technology. Jakara said nothing. She simply gestured for the footage to play again. The scene was simple enough. A human female identified as Charlotte Webb, civilian xenobiologist attached to the human expedition on Krathva 7. The planet was a Class 4 death world by Imperial standards, home to the Krathva apex stalkers, creatures that had ended 3 separate colonization attempts by various species over the last 2 centuries. In the footage, Charlotte sat cross-legged in a clearing, surrounded by 5 Krathva cubs. Each cub was the size of a Terran wolf, covered in midnight black scales with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed along their spines. Their jaws could crush durasteel. Their claws could tear through combat armor. They were, by every measurable standard, perfect killing machines, and they were nuzzling against Charlotte like domesticated pets. "Replay from timestamp 1437, Jakara commanded. The hologram shimmered. Charlotte was speaking to someone off-camera, later identified as Felix Morrison, the human expedition's lead security officer. Her voice was soft, almost melodic. "They're not dangerous if you respect their boundaries," Charlotte was saying, running her hand along the largest cub's scaled head. The creature's eyes, 6 of them arranged in a predatory configuration, were half closed in what any xenobiologist would recognize as contentment. "They're just curious, intelligent, misunderstood." Felix's voice came from behind the camera, warm with amusement. "Charlie, Command is going to lose their minds when they see this footage." "Let them," Charlotte replied, grinning. "Maybe they'll finally understand that apex predator doesn't mean inherently hostile." Jakara paused the footage. "Analysis indicates the cub's neural patterns show no signs of chemical manipulation, correct?" "Correct, Captain," Ralthine confirmed, his reluctance evident. "We've run every scan possible. The creatures are acting of their own volition. The human has employed no technology, no pheromones, no psychic influence. She is simply sitting with them." "Impossible," Jakara muttered, but she resumed the playback. The footage continued. Charlotte stood, brushing dirt from her pants. The cubs immediately became alert, their bioluminescent patterns shifting to a rapid pulse. What Imperial xenobiologists had identified as a pre-attack sequence. But Charlotte didn't run. She didn't even tense. Instead, she knelt down again, meeting the largest cub at eye level. "I know," she said softly. "I have to go. But I'll come back tomorrow, okay? Same time." What happened next had caused the Imperial Science Division to declare the footage corrupted data, until 17 other angles confirmed the same scene. The largest cub stepped forward and pressed its massive head against Charlotte's chest. Its front limbs wrapped around her torso, the same limbs that could disembowel a fully armored Vaxian soldier, and held her gently. The other 4 cubs followed, creating what could only be described as a group embrace. Charlotte laughed, actually laughed, and wrapped her arms around them. "I'll miss you too, you big scaly softies." Ralthine made a sound like escaping steam. "This defies every established principle of xenobiology. Krathva apex stalkers do not form emotional bonds. They do not display affection. They certainly do not." He gestured helplessly at the hologram. "Hug." "And yet," Jakara said quietly, "here is the evidence." The footage showed Charlotte gently extracting herself from the cubs, speaking to them the entire time in that same soft tone. As she walked away, joining Felix at the edge of the clearing, the cubs didn't attack. They didn't chase. They simply sat and watched, their bioluminescent patterns shifting to a slow, steady pulse. Felix had captured one final moment. Charlotte looking back over her shoulder, waving at the cubs. The largest one raised a front limb in what looked disturbingly like a wave in return. "Freeze there," Jakara ordered. The hologram stopped, capturing Charlotte's expression, joy, pure and unguarded. Behind her, Felix's hand was visible at the edge of the frame, resting supportively on her shoulder. Command wants a full xenopsychological evaluation of the human, Ralthine said. They believe she may possess latent psychic abilities unknown to Terran science. Shakara's mandibles clicked in what passed for a laugh among her people. Or perhaps, Commander, we have simply underestimated what makes humans so peculiarly dangerous. Captain? Shakara gestured at the frozen image. Every species in the Empire approaches unknown predators with caution, weapons, dominance displays. We use our intelligence to conquer, to control. She paused, choosing her words carefully. Humans use theirs to understand, to empathize. They see an apex predator and think, what does it need? What does it feel? How can I communicate? That's not dangerous, Ralthine protested. That's foolish, suicidal, is it? Shakara zoomed in on Charlotte's face, then shifted to show the cub's expressions. Contentment, trust, something that looked remarkably like affection. The Krathva have defeated armies, Commander. They've destroyed settlements and sent entire military divisions fleeing, and this single human armed with nothing but patience and empathy has accomplished what we could not with all our weapons and armor. She turned to face Ralthine directly. She made them care whether she lived or died. The commander's tentacles went still. The Imperial Council will never accept this. The Imperial Council, Shakara said, has been trying to understand why humans are so successful at colonizing death worlds, why they thrive where we merely survive, why their civilian scientists venture into territories that terrify our elite soldiers. She gestured at the hologram. This footage is the answer, Commander. Humans don't conquer death worlds. They befriend them. Shakara saved the file, encrypting it with her personal command codes. Send a message to the human expedition. Inform Charlotte Webb that the Empire would like to offer her a position as lead xenobiologist for our Death World colonization program. Whatever her current salary is, triple it. Captain, the Council will approve it when they see the strategic value. Shakara's expression hardened. If humans can turn the galaxy's most deadly predators into allies with nothing but kindness and understanding, imagine what they could do with proper resources and Imperial support. She took one last look at the frozen image. Charlotte surrounded by creatures of nightmare, smiling like she was among friends. Impossible footage, Shakara murmured. Perhaps. But I'm beginning to think that impossible is just another word for human, and